So now it's time to drop the image of the guys in this upper little corner here of the sheet, and also then to their hit locations over here on the right side. So first off, the reason I had you set the figures up in such a way that they're nice and spread out is because you want to be able to select each of the figures individually. And also you'll see in a minute why this relatively uniform colored background is really important to make it easy, this whole process pretty easy. So let's start with one of the figures. It doesn't really matter which one you want to pick. You want to select the rectangular selection tool here and go back to the firewires I've got and draw a box around, or select a box around one of them by holding down the shift key. This will force it to be a box. And you're going to want to make the box big enough so that you'll be able to eventually each figure will be able to fit within this box per se. So if you're to select each figure individually with this box, you want to make sure each figure almost pretty much fits entirely within this box. Let's go ahead and center the box around one of the figures. And you're going to go ahead now and basically create a new image with just this one firewire in it. So you're going to go up here and choose, obviously, Edit Copy, File, New, and you got to enter the proper dimensions. So if you need to know the dimensions of what you just selected, go back to the toolbar here, and down the bottom you'll see the dimensions of the box you just selected, which in this case is 603 by 603. So we're going to create a new image, 603 by 603. Go ahead and paste that image down and do Layer, Anchor Layer. Now we got a nice big close-up shot of the firewire, and what we want to do is remove this blue background. So for that, you're going to use this color select tool over here. It's got the little finger in the blue, red, and green. I'm going to click on that. This threshold value down here is important because essentially this is how much variation you can allow of this select. You want it relatively small because if you go all the way up, you're going to start to see it's going to select everything. All the way down, you're going to select like 1 pixel. So about a 15 to 20 should be good. What you're going to do is just go to your image and click somewhere in the blue background. And now this process is probably going to take several steps. You can see there's a lot of little crap that didn't quite select. So in that case, let's go ahead and undo. And let's crank this threshold up. Let's try 25. So it's a bit of experimentation. That's much better. So as you can see, the only places that really didn't select are the firewire, which is good, and the little shadow down here. There's still a few little bits around, but that's alright. We'll clean those up separately. So now I'm going to go ahead, Edit, Cut. Now it gets rid of most of the blue background, and for the last little bits, take the eraser tool here, choose a large size such as 19, and let's just go back to the figure and erase the rest of the blue background by hand. That's pretty good there. You can tell there's still a little bit of garbage gook around the edge. If you want to get really particular, you can clean that up, but that'll take a while to sit here and go through it by hand. But it's good enough for the most part. So now I want to scale these figures down so that they'll be about the right size for this card. And I've found if you scale them down to about 175 pixels, give or take, because it depends obviously on how big the figure is relative to the size of the full image. Well, for about 150 to 175 pixels, like I said, depending on how much white space there is, it'll get you about a good size of the figure for the card. So we'll go ahead and just choose Image, Scale Image, and we want to type in the box here. Let's go 175, hit Tab, and they should link together. And scale down to that, and we're going to save this guy off, as we're going to call him Fire Warrior and 01, and we're going to save it as a .xcf file, which is a native GIMP file format. Now we're going to repeat this process with the remaining Fire Warriors, so you have all 4 small pictures like this separated out. Okay, so now as you see here, I've got my 4 tile Fire Warriors with all the blue background removed, which will make the selection process and stick them in this thing a little bit easier. So what we got to do is we got to create a new layer that's going to hover just right around here. That's actually going to be used to hold these 4 figures. So let's go open our layers dialog, and we want to hit the new layer button down here in the corner. And let's give it a width and height of, let's see here, let's do a width of 220 and a height of 250. So you can see now in the corner, you see this little black and yellow line, the layer boundary. Right now we can't really move it too easily just because there's nothing in it. So we got to put something in first before we can move it. So decide now the order to add the figures, and you want to add them from back to front. So let's put this guy with his gun sticking up here in the back. So to add a figure to the picture, what you're going to do is go back to the old color select dialog, So this little guy here, the color select tool, the blue, red, and green, the little hand, click on that. And now this time click on the white background. So now right now the entire white background is selected. So now you want to go select, invert, and now this selects pretty much the Fire Warrior. So edit copy, go up here, edit paste in the image of the card. And now you want to move this figure around, and we'll have him sitting back in the back corner like that. Go layer, anchor layer, and now you can see this layer with the base in the boundary here has this guy in it. So let's go ahead over to our GIMP toolbar and click on the move thing. Now click on the Fire Warrior you just added. Now you see you can drag that whole layer around and put the layer in such a way that the bottom of the layer is going to be about just above the word life. Because what you want to try to do is get a cool fading effect. So let's actually, we'll move it up. We'll put the layer, the bottom of the layer, we'll put it, yeah, right about above life or so. So therefore, we'll get you the cool fading effect in a minute. So now let's go ahead and add the 3 remaining Fire Warriors in the same fashion. So now the next step is to go ahead and create that cool fading effect that you see in all the cards of Heroscape. And you're going to use something called a layer mask. So bring up your layers dialog. And on the layer that contains the characters, which I conveniently named new layer, let's give that a better name. Call this troops. You want to right click on it and choose add layer mask. And what you'll see now is this little dialog will pop up. You want to choose white full opacity, hit add. And now in the troops layer in the layer dialog box, you got 2 things here. One's kind of a little mini image, and one's this little mostly black little white box in it. This over here, this one to the left, which is the mini image, is actually for editing the image. And the one on the right here is actually for editing the layer mask. And we want to do that first. So be sure to left click on the layer mask little icon. And what we're going to do is now, how the layer mask will work is essentially saying how transparent is this section. So we want to make the section down here at the very bottom of the layer completely transparent. A little ways up, we want to make it completely opaque. So what we do here is, GIMP's got this thing called the blending tool. So first we got to select our colors first. So let's go down here to the color select dialog box. And with layer masks, black is fully transparent, white is fully opaque. So let's hit the flip button here. And that will now make the white become the primary color and the black the secondary color or background color. And choose this blend tool. And you want to do mode is normal. Opacity 100%, gradient, you have much to choose from, but you want foreground to background RGB. You want a shape linear, repeat none, and these guys are dithering's fine to have on. So what you're going to do now is go back to your image, and let's start right about here at about the base of this tip of this Fire Warrior's gun. This is where the fading is going to start. So hold down your mouse button, and as you drag, you'll see this line forms. This is essentially the line of fading, and what you want a perfectly vertically straight line. And let's make it, and the bottom of the line then is going to be where the layer becomes fully transparent. So drag it down to about where the number of this is for the life, and let's release. And so it looks kind of alright, but we want the base of the figures to actually become fully transparent. So let's hit Control Z, undo that, and we'll start a little bit higher up, and we will make them fully transparent right there, which would be a little bit above the bases of the figures. A little too much. So it's a little, so it's a little bit kind of fudging around. What do you think looks good? Let's try that. A little too much still, I think. Let's go a little bit further. But as you can see, it's just kind of messing around enough, and that's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you get the idea of how you want to do it. So you got your figures in there, the little transparency effect. Now it's time to go ahead and build the hit diagrams. Copyright 2007-2008 Rocco Software, licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial License. The intro music Down With Everything is by The Transfer and is acquired from www.podtapeaudio.com and is used under a Creative Commons license.